Welcome to Home Brew by J.W. Martin Real Estate, where we uncover the true stories of what's brewing in South Carolina's local business scene. I'm Joey Martin, and each week we sit down with the ones who are pushing through the grind. Business owners, creators, and community leaders who have fought through the tough times and come out stronger. No fluff, just real stories, smart insights, and a whole lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's dive in. Welcome to Home Brew, where we learn the stories behind our striving local businesses. We'll discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship and business. I'm Joey Martin. I'm honored to welcome today's guest, a close personal friend of mine. She and her husband and their business partner, Jen, own one of the hottest restaurants downtown Greenville, my favorite restaurant downtown Greenville, Coral. And welcome to the show, Dakota Schilling.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. Really appreciate you coming on the show. So you guys have really achieved a level of success, I think, beyond what you could have imagined in a very short period of time. Let's talk about before you were successful restaurant entrepreneurs. Let's go back a few years to the not so sexy side when you guys first got started. Tell me the backstory of Coral.
So it was COVID time. It was 2020, and we all met working at Halls Chophouse in downtown Greenville. But I had left in 2019, and Jen also left in 2019. So Chris was the only one left there, and Chris and I were dating at the time, and Jen and I started becoming good friends, and we were introduced to the space that is now Coral, that was just sitting there empty, pretty much empty, because Rick Irwins was using it for event space, but there were no events happening during COVID. It kind of just fell into our laps as the perfect timing opportunity for this great space on Main Street. The location's phenomenal, as you know, and sitting empty. It was COVID, so we got a really good deal on rent. And we also saw kind of a hole in the market in fine dining seafood in downtown Greenville. So all the parts just kind of fell into place, but it was very scary back then, especially during COVID when we didn't really know what was going on with the future of restaurants and dining in, and everything was very uncertain at the time. And none of us had opened a restaurant before. We were all kind of lifetime restaurant people, but none of us had taken the step.
Wow, what a scary time to open a fine dining restaurant right there during COVID. And I remember I'm close with you guys, so I kind of remember those times and kind of actually walked down there, that building with you guys, and you guys had the vision laid out so beautifully. You could just visualize everything so well. Just amazing how well things have done for you guys. Super, super happy for your success. But most definitely, let's talk about those times during COVID when things weren't open. Right? Did you guys start when things weren't open to the public?
So by the time we got open, which is March of 2021, everything was back open, some with some limitations. Everybody was still masked up, and some things were at like limited capacity or half capacity. But the world had, well, at least in South Carolina, had started to open back up, and people were definitely ready to get back out there. So the idea came to be during COVID, but by the time we actually got open, it was kind of perfect in that the world was opening back up and people were ready to go out again.
Wow. And you talk about perfect timing. You couldn't have predicted that, right? It just kind of fell into place.
Yeah. We just kind of wanted to go for it. So.
Wow. Yeah. And what made you guys decide to take the leap into business ownership?
I think that we all realize that there's a cap when you're working for somebody else, pretty much in all fields, but definitely in the restaurant industry. Jen left Halls as the GM. Chris was the AGM. They had kind of both reached their ceilings, for the most part. And we all kind of realized that if you want to make real money and really be able to have the flexibility of schedule and all of that stuff, that we would have to do it for ourselves. And we all felt like the three of us bring something different. So with our experience combined, that we could go for it.
Yeah. As I've had some experience with the restaurant world myself, and my experience was not so good. And so I know how risky it is. And I'll tell you, one thing I've noticed with you guys in particular, most restaurant owners
Mhm.
are it's they are in that restaurant 90 hours a week, killing
Yeah.
themselves. And I would say, and I can relate because I was one of those restaurant
Yeah.
owners. It was just, it's a passion project. But
Yeah.
with you guys, what I've noticed is that you guys still get to enjoy life.
Yeah. We've managed to find a quality of life and work balance, which is, I think, pretty rare in the restaurant industry. But I think there's probably two main factors that contribute to that for us. One is having three partners. So, even though we get to experience this quality of life, one of the three of us is always at the restaurant. And then the second thing is that we're only open for 5 shifts a week. We're closed Sunday, Monday, and we don't do lunch. So five versus a lot of restaurants that are doing 14 shifts, lunch and dinner 7 days a week. The staffing is way less demanding. Our need to be there physically is way less demanding. That, of course, that doesn't account for all the work we're doing outside of being in the building. But, in terms of hours in the building, those two things, having three of us and being closed 2 days a week and dinner only, allow for that quality of life, which we really value.
Yeah, I tell you, I have really applaud you guys and the systems and processes and the level of service that you guys bring to the table, because it's always a nice experience when you go there. And I think that's very well thought out, and that's on purpose. How important are the systems and processes for you guys?
Very, definitely. I think we knew from the beginning that we love halls and we all learned a lot there, but it is a really demanding place to work. It can be grueling. And I think we all knew that we wanted to create for ourselves more quality of life, which meant having systems and processes in place and sticking to our guns about being closed on Sunday and Monday and not doing lunches and not doing really any outside events or catering or anything like that. So you are taking away time opportunity to make money when you're paying the same rent whether you're open 5 shifts or 14. So we knew that we would have to be good and execute well in order to be able to financially make that make sense. So yeah, it definitely meant we had to be precise.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And talk about, you said you guys each bring something different to the table. What does each individual owner bring to the table, and how does that help shape things out?
Yeah. So when we opened, we all knew that we brought something a little different, but we didn't know exactly how it would play out in terms of day to day roles and management styles and everything. But we all kind of just fell into place. Chris's main experience and what he excels at really is floor managing and attention to detail. So he is the one that is checking on the guests every night. He's on the floor with a water pitcher checking on every bite of food and every table. And that's what he's really good at, like zooming out and seeing the whole dining room as it plays out, in real time. And that's something that I don't excel at. I'm much more of a focused on one task kind of person. So yeah, so he kind of fell into this floor management role, and he also took on all of our repair and maintenance type stuff, which Jen and I are grateful for because he's always on the phone with repairmen, ordering new parts, yada yada.
Yeah,
And then Jen's background is in business management, and she also has like a pretty decent accounting background. So she naturally fell into the bookkeeping side of things, all of the back of like behind the scenes payroll, QuickBooks, all of the things that have to happen to make a restaurant work. That a lot of office time, which again I am very grateful to not have to do. I know Chris is too. And
right.
then my role really is like guest interactions. I'm really good with regulars, name recognition, remembering and caring about, people's lives. And Coral, as you know, is built on regulars. So my
Right,
role is
right.
kind of, yeah, I'm often at the host stand right as people arrive, greeting people by name, and then kind of just like being the person who zooms around and jumps into a position if I need to. I can bartend or expo or hostess or whatever. If there's ever anywhere that needs a gap filled, I'm the person that jumps in.
Yeah,
So yeah, and
that
it wasn't necessarily planned, but it worked out great. So
and something I've noticed with you guys is that in the absence of one, the other one can jump in and fill the shoes.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. As much as we all have our different things that we excel at, we all feel pretty comfortable taking on each other's role.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of you guys having the free time get out and enjoy
Yeah.
life and vacation and see some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some phenomenal employees, some that have been with us from the beginning. We've got John, our bar manager, who's been there since day one, who pours his heart and soul into it, and we trust, to
Yes, he does.
he's an
Yep,
eccentric
absolutely.
character, but he cares just as much as the three of us do. Our chef Josh has been with us since day one, and really we don't have to worry about the kitchen much at all. Josh and Cody are sous chef, so yeah, we have awesome management in place too, which makes a big difference.
I love the fact that you mentioned your team because I'm very team oriented with
Yeah,
my real estate company, and I care so much about my team. They're like family, and so I can see that with you guys as well. And you can, in the restaurant world, there's places that have new faces all the time,
yeah,
and that like turnover constantly.
the revolving door. Yeah,
And what
yeah,
I've seen with Coral in particular is that most of the time it's the same faces because people just aren't leaving.
yeah,
The employees
yeah.
aren't leaving. Yeah,
We're so lucky with that. Again, with the 5 days a week thing, I think that really helps with our employees' quality of life. They make great money, and I think we try to take care of them for the most part. But yeah, we're very lucky. We've had unbelievable employee retention, and usually when people leave, it's because they're going on to pursue a different dream. Not just hop into a different restaurant. So
sure,
yeah, we're very
absolutely.
lucky about that. Yeah.
And so, how do you, with the Greenville restaurant scene? There's so many staples in downtown Greenville that have been there for years.
Yeah.
What would you say makes Coral different?
I think a couple of things. I think that our attention to detail with service is probably the thing that we focus on the most. There's a lot of great restaurants in downtown Greenville and all over Greenville that have great service, but it's the thing that we really try to hone in on. And yeah, I think the service, the level of service, the active management and ownership, one of us is always on site as well as several managers. There's so much presence on the floor. I think sometimes when you have a subpar experience at a restaurant, there's no managers on site. There's not really anybody paying attention. So we're always there. We're always trying to catch issues before, Chris likes to say he's Smokey the Bear. Like he's not putting out fires, he's preventing them from happening. So we're always trying to be aware of problems before they come to be. And then if there is an issue, which there's going to be from time to time, we always try to take care of it before they leave the door. So I think that sets us apart as well as our menu and our little niche of high-end seafood. I don't think, especially at the time that we opened, there are more options now, but at the time we opened, there really wasn't a lot. There was Nantucket, which is since closed, and Gianna, which has a seafood focus but also Italian focus. So there really wasn't a lot of competition at the time.
Very nice. I tell you, downtown Greenville is just such a wonderful downtown area, nice and clean, and just a really beautiful downtown area. The location you guys have is wonderful. And every time I go there, it's just a really nice experience. From the valet parking out front to you walk in the front door, you're greeted by the hostess. Sometimes you or Chris come up and greet me, and you know my drink. You know my drink already, and
Depends on your mood.
correct.
Could
You're
be a
absolutely
Jameson,
right.
could be a penicillin. Yeah.
Absolutely right. Yep. So you guys, the attention to detail, Alyssa's drink that she's going to have when she comes in, and man, that's just a special touch that you just don't see everywhere. And
Yeah.
how are you guys able to do that? How do you keep all that stuff in memory and
A
give
lot
that?
of that's just I've got, maybe I'm lucky, maybe it's genetics. My parents both have really good memories. But yeah, I think that's part of, for me, I was a bartender for 10 years before Coral opened, and that your whole job is kind of face and drink and name recognition, so you get really good at that. And it's definitely a skill that does set you apart. People love to be greeted at the door with their drink by their name. And a regular of ours told me recently, I won't mention the other restaurant in question, but he was telling me about experience he had somewhere else. And he's like, I could not get a drink at this place. He's like, and at Coral, I can't not get a drink. It's like as soon as you walk through the door. So I
That's
think people love to feel special like that.
it really does. It gives you that VIP feeling when you walk in the door
Right.
and you get that nice greeting. You're greeted by your first name and they already know the drink that you want. It really is a special experience. And so What are some of the sacrifices you'd say that you guys have made to succeed as entrepreneurs in the restaurant field?
A lot of it, we're now a well-oiled machine and we have to sacrifice less, but a lot of the risk and sacrifice came in the beginning on when we were trying to get open. Back then, before Coral even came to fruition, we were just trying to come up with the funding. There was a huge amount of risk that we took on personally. All three of our homes we put up for collateral. We took out several lines of credit, whether it was maxing out credit cards, taking out personal loans at crazy shark interest rates.
Yeah.
We took on a huge amount of risk because we believed in ourselves. But yeah, and then in the beginning, we didn't hire any managers to begin with. It was just the three of us. So back then we were working long hours. We were all there every day because we knew we'd taken on all this risk and we had to really work at it to make it succeed. So it was a while before we were able to take a step back and start vacationing again. But yeah, it was totally worth it because it's more than we ever dreamed it could be.
Yeah. So I'd say that hits close to home. If you're an entrepreneur and you believe in yourself and you believe in your dream, it's no holds barred by any means necessary. We're
Yeah.
gonna make this thing work because
Yeah.
failure's not an option. Thing that doesn't work out, I'm gonna be back working for
Well,
somebody else
yeah.
or when the word success, people define it differently. What do you consider the meaning of success?
To me, success is all about the way I feel. I think, it's like money is great and, that all comes along with being successful if you're lucky. But for me, it's about being able to create a life that I'm really content with. And, Chris and I love to travel, and we've been able to create a situation for ourselves where we get to travel a lot, and we're so grateful that we have this wonderful partnership with Jen, where she's always happy to be there if we're out of town, and vice versa. So for me, success I've really found in like creating this balance where we get to travel and live and have this great restaurant as well, and experience success in business, but also just contentment in life. So,
Yeah, that's really great. And I think most everyone, and I say this a lot, but most everyone, I think, the outside thinks of success as money and things and objects, but most entrepreneurs, if you ask them the meaning of success, nobody says money or things or objects. It's
yeah,
yeah, a lot of it sounds like freedom
yeah,
is the
yeah.
freedom to live a life that you enjoy and you
Yeah,
can
I
get
think
out and
freedom is a good one because you're so limited when you're working for somebody else. It's like you get your whatever your vacation time is if you get any, and then you're kind of at the mercy of your employer. So I think freedom is definitely
yeah
a huge part.
and time flies so quickly. How many years have you guys been in business now?
4.5 almost. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Four and a half, approaching 5 years pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
We're gonna have
really
a big
amazing.
celebration for year 5. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm ready for that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are some people that you've looked to over the years for mentorship and guidance?
So we're really lucky in downtown Greenville. There's a really great community of restaurant owners that we are right next door to Rick Irwin. So we have a good relationship with them where we're always borrowing stuff back and forth. And we've been lucky enough to have a really great relationship with Carl Sobosinski of Table 301. He owns about, I don't know, 8 to 10 restaurants downtown, some of
Yeah.
the most staple restaurants in Greenville. Movies has been there, I think, going on 30 years. The
Wow.
Lazy Goat, Passerelle's, Gianna, Camp. So he's been a really good resource to Chris, to all three of us, really. But he's been amazing since we opened, and he's always available for questions or just spitballing ideas. We were able to maintain a really good relationship with the Halls, and I know Jen and Chris both will reach out to Tommy if they have a question or if someone's moving from Charleston that applied to Coral that used to work at Halls. We have a great relationship in that way where we can still call up the Halls and ask for advice or yeah. But really all of the restaurant owners in downtown Greenville have been so kind to us since we opened.
Wow. That's really neat that, you know, where most businesses consider people competition, whereas yeah, there is some competition involved, but it sounds like you guys haven't burned any bridges there. It sounds like all the restaurants down there to work together and help one another out, which is really amazing. And Probably
Yeah,
pretty
we
rare.
can kind of see there's plenty of pieces of pie to go around. There's tons of business. Greenville's growing all the time. So yeah, there's plenty for all of us, and it's great to keep a relationship because when you're not in the restaurant industry, you probably don't think about like, oh crap, we just ran out of ginger beer,
Yeah.
and it's 10:30 on a Friday night. Where else are you going to go at that hour to go? So it's great to be able to maintain a relationship where I can run next door and say, hey, I need some ginger beer.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So every time I'm a creature of habit. So
Mhm.
most of the times when I go to Coral, I'm ordering a penicillin to drink or a Jameson ginger ale. And for an appetizer, my favorites, the bang shrimp,
Yeah,
and I love the little Frenched wings. Those things are delicious.
so good.
And and as far as entrees, I love the swordfish. That's one of my favorites. What are your most popular dishes, would you say?
So the bangin' shrimp has been the best-selling appetizer since the day we opened, always, other than bread, which. But yeah, it's every single week the bangin' shrimp outsells everything else, and the wings are a close second. So you've got the crowd pleasers there. And then for entrees, scallops have been the number one seller since we opened. Yeah, scallops followed by halibut. The halibut is, I believe, the only entree that's never changed since the day we opened. It's served blackened over broccoli salad with peach chutney, and it's been the same since day one. It's the people that love it love it. We have one couple that has it every Saturday since the day we opened. They've been 180 something times. So yeah, those are the best selling. But I mean, really, everything sells well, and we pay attention to that. In the restaurant industry, it's called P mix or product mix. So we're
Yeah.
always looking at our P mix to figure out if something's not selling, we won't keep it. We try to keep our menu fresh and seasonal. So we do typically two menu changes a year, one for spring, summer, and one for fall, winter. And if something's not doing well, we'll get rid of it because we want everything on the menu to be like delicious and something that we feel comfortable recommending and standing behind.
Yeah, most definitely. I have a history with Chris. I've known him for years, and so
Yeah.
a really close personal friend of mine. So before getting into the restaurant world, he was in sales of
Hmm.
various kinds and
Yeah.
real estate and things like that. Prior to getting into the world of restaurants, what did you and what did Jen what were you two involved in prior to
Jen,
the restaurant world?
unlike Chris, Jen and I have only done restaurants. Yeah. So Jen went to college out of high school and studied business management, and then pretty soon after moved to Charleston and immediately was like immersed in the restaurant world. She started working for High Cotton, which at the time was not owned by Halls, but Halls did eventually acquire High Cotton years later. But she worked for High Cotton and The Ordinary, and then Halls. So she bounced in fine dining all around Charleston, and then she eventually landed at Halls in Charleston and started as a server, worked her way up to wine director, and then eventually moved to Greenville to be the GM of Halls. But unless I'm mistaken, I think Jen's entire work experience has been in restaurants since she was a teenager. Her first job was at like one of those theater dinner things in Wisconsin. Yeah, where it's like
Okay.
a dinner and a show. Yeah. So her entire experience has been in restaurants, and me too. When I was 16, when I was in high school, I worked at a pizza place, and yeah, and then I traveled a bit around Europe for a year. And when I was in Europe, I ran out of money and had to bartend to continue my year of just gallivanting around the world. So I learned how to bartend, and yeah, I've been in restaurants ever since. So I've never done anything different.
Yeah, there had to be some cool experiences. I'm sure running out of
Yeah,
money, you turned it into a positive. I'm sure you got some
yeah.
really cool experiences there.
You do what you got to do when you're 18 and trying to see the world. Yeah,
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
yeah.
I want to say that every time I go to Coral, I have a great time, have a great experience. I love seeing you guys without question, but it's not just the friendship that brings me there. The food is amazing. The experience is always first class. John is incredible behind the bar, and I don't want to leave anyone out. Anyone who's ever served me there has been just first class and on top of their game. I just
Thank
really
you.
want
We
to give you
appreciate
guys a
that.
big shout out. And so, also your social media presence. I want to say you guys have
Oh, thanks.
quite the social media presence and make some
We've
pretty
tried to ramp
creative
that up
videos.
in the last year or so. Yeah, I mean, we've always tried to have a good presence, but yeah, I've been working really hard on it, so I appreciate that. We're trying to
Yeah.
stay relevant and young. I've got some great teenage hostesses that keep me up with the TikTok trends.
Oh man, I need some advice on mine. I really try to really hone in and do it. I think I'm just gonna have to pay someone to do my social media. I believe at
Yeah,
the end of the day. Yeah.
outsourcing might be if you don't have, we're lucky enough to have 5 teenage girls who live on TikTok and work
Right.
for us. So they know what's happening all the time and they'll help me edit my videos. But yeah, it's fun trying to the world is changing in business and not just restaurants. In pretty much any field you have to be on social media now.
Yeah.
So learning that is it's a fun new challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And kind of I guess my generation is I don't want to just box everybody into my
Yeah.
generation box, but if we just didn't share our lives that much, and now it's
Right.
like people share every step of their day. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little different world, but you know what, we gotta in business we gotta constantly be adjusting. Just
Adapt or die. You can't
yeah,
you don't want to be the dinosaur. Yeah.
absolutely right. You definitely
Yeah.
don't want to be the dinosaur, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So what ask about the favorite entrees? What
Hmm.
would be the favorite cocktail, the signature cocktail, or the crowd pleaser?
So yeah, right now, well, not just right now, for the last 3 years, the coconut espresso martini has been our best-selling specialty cocktail. They sell like crazy. There will be some Friday, Saturday nights where we'll sell over 250 espresso
Holy
martinis.
cow! My
Yeah.
goodness.
Last
And,
year we sold, I did a little thing on Instagram a few months back, having people guess how many espresso martinis we sold last year, and the number was upwards of 28,000.
oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, espresso martinis is definitely our thing. We brew about 12 to 15 quarts of fresh espresso every day. Yeah, go through
Wow.
cases and cases of coconut vodka. So that's definitely our number one. But we've always had, we try to keep a good balance on our cocktail list. We always have a vodka or two options, a gin, a rum, and definitely always a whiskey. Right now we have a toasted marshmallow old fashioned that's really popular. So they all sell pretty
Incredible.
well. Same thing as with the menus. We try to rotate it and keep it fresh. But yeah, the espresso martini is definitely a thing.
That old fashioned sounds right up my alley for sure. So
It's delicious.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll have to try that some next time I'm down there. I've really enjoyed talking with you. What's your go-to dish yourself? Do you and Chris and Jen each have a favorite?
Yeah, I think we do. Chris and Jen are funny because they get food envy from each other. So they typically eat the same thing on the same day so that one is not jealous of the other's meal because they have similar eating patterns. So lately it's been lamb Saturdays for the two of them. They eat our New Zealand rack of lamb every Saturday. It's delicious. It's coffee rubbed over mascarpone puree with candied carrots and arugula. That's been their thing recently. I am a little bit all over the place, but I think some of the things that I love are not the best sellers. I love the beet appetizer, which is maybe an unpopular opinion. I think the coral curry is one of my favorite things. It's been on the menu since we opened, some variation on a curry, which is maybe a little bit random for a seafood restaurant, but our chef Josh loves like curries and he makes them and they're delicious. And we love to have a vegan option for people, a vegan option that's not just a plate of vegetables thrown together. So
Right,
I think
right.
the coral curry is delicious and you can add whatever protein to it. That's one of my go-tos. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll eat the whole menu, mood
Yeah.
dependent, weather dependent. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've never been disappointed with the steak you serve either. Yeah, I know you guys are primarily focused on seafood, but the
Yeah.
steaks are delicious as well.
Yeah, we
Everything
try to
else,
like have something for everyone because seafood's not for everyone. So we always have a chicken option, several steak options, lamb, curry, etc.
that's incredible. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. I'm sure I'll be there to see you guys soon. How can the listeners find you as far as social
So
media goes?
yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram both as Coral Greenville. Our website coralgreenville.com. And yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. You can call anytime. I always answer the phone. Fun fact, it's if we're not in business hours, the call is forward to my cell phone. I'm sure you've experienced it when we've been together. I'll answer the
Yeah,
phone on a Sunday or after hours. So it's yeah, we're super reachable, which we think is an added bonus. You don't have to listen to options and press one
yes,
for this, two for that. But
that's rare. That's very rare.
yeah,
Yeah,
see if I can keep it up.
yeah,
Some days it takes a toll answering 50 phone calls, but
yeah. In the world of AI bots and things like that, you're still picking up the phone. And I mean, that also says something to the character of the restaurant and the experience. The experience starts there. They're actually
Right.
able to talk with a human being. So
Yeah.
that's really
Yep.
cool. Thank you,
So
Dakota. I've really
you're welcome.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too, Joey. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Home Brew, where local entrepreneurs share their stories, challenges, and victories. Remember, every big business started with a bold idea and the courage to take the first step. Stay inspired, keep building, and join us next time as we continue to celebrate and support our local business community. Until then, keep hustling and make an impact right here at home. Thank you. That's it for this episode of Home Brew. If it resonated with you or gave you a fresh perspective, share it with someone else who's working hard to make their mark. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, no matter the challenge, keep pushing forward because success is brewed one step at a time. We'll see you next time. Same place, new story.